Scary Japanese story, Shina Shina Sama, fan remake. There was a boy named Chris who moved to an old town in Japan. There was a legend going around in this town about an evil spirit called Shina Shina Sama. The spirit whispers the word die in your ear, but it doesn't cause any harm. Eventually, if you ignore him, he leaves you alone. However, they didn't know the actual sentence that the spirit was saying, since the legend was very old and it can be interpreted differently, so the word wasn't death, but something else entirely different. It was still a mystery. Chris went to his uncle's house to spend the holiday there. At that time, Shina Shina Sama's legend was prohibited to be spoken, since they didn't want to scare off people with some religious legend. Chris didn't know anything about this legend. His uncle welcomed him warmly and showed him to his room. Chris was getting his luggage out of his bag and organizing his things. Afterwards, he was too tired to stay up, so he washed his face and went straight to bed. The next day, he felt weird, like someone or something was whispering something in his ear while he was asleep. But he didn't care too much, since he always slept tightly and couldn't hear any noise. Even if there was a collapsing building, he still will snore loudly. The sound of Shina Shina Sama was getting louder and louder, and the more he heard it, the more he gets more irritated. He couldn't ignore the sound any longer, so he tried to open his ear and listen to the sound to know what was actually happening. It was so frightening that it kept him awake all night. He was about to lose his mind, so he went to his uncle and explained the situation to him. That's when his uncle explained to him the scary Japanese folktale. When he heard this, he froze, even though his uncle explained to him that this Japanese story is nothing to be scared of. He still couldn't sleep. He was driven to the edge, and he grabbed a knife to take his life. When his uncle stopped him and said, "This is just a crank. I was the one who was whispering in your ear through the microphone on your ear." Chris couldn't forgive his uncle for tricking him. So the next day he went back to his village and cursed his uncle on the way home. Afterwards, his uncle couldn't sleep because this time the legend was real. So he heard Shina Shina Sama's real voice, and his uncle was driven mad.